Today it is Saturday, which means it is Parkrun Day, and we are off to Pontypool Parkrun in Wales. The Pontypool Parkrun is located in South Wales and it is just north of Newport, and it is located to the east of Pontypool at the Pontypool Active Living Centre. So as you can see, I've already ran 25 events from the purple t-shirt. However, this is quite a special achievement as we are hitting 25 different locations, which means we are a quarter of the way towards the Cowl Club Challenge. And for those of you who don't know what the Cowl Club Challenge is, it is basically 100 different parkrun locations, so 25 being a quarter of the way through, and hopefully we can try and head towards hitting that 100 one day. So the parkrun is all around the rugby and football club, the bowls club, and also the Active Living Centre, and it is all on hard standing tarmac, so that's perfect for anyone that wants to wear road shoes. You'll see from the video a little bit later on that the weather was not great on the day and there was a lot of rain. However, it wasn't slippy at all, so that's good news. One weird thing again about this event is that it was number 448, so we've now done 3 event number 448s in a row, so they must have all started at a similar time. So Skippenham 2 weeks ago, Pomfrey Hill last week, and now Pontypool, all 448, so Wilson Index isn't really getting anywhere. It's also good to note that it is a nice and quiet parkrun too, with only 74 other participants on the day, which means that it doesn't really get too congested. Obviously you have to overtake people if you are on a different lap to the others, as it's only a 2-lap course. You may have to overtake people who are still on their first lap, but it is also good to note that it is dog and pram / buggy friendly as well, so you can bring along your children and dogs, and also the toilets are nearby at the Active Living Centre too, so don't need to worry about that. On the 5k parkrun app, it does mention that it is an undulating park run. I'd probably lean to the more fairly hilly side, especially after they have a hill named after Hospital Hill, which is quite a struggle to get up that one, and it is a fairly steep one too. But apart from that hill, the rest of it is pretty much, like they say, undulating, not too many steep hills, and there is a nice little downhill following that Hospital Hill anyway. So with that being said, it is not a great course for a PB. However, you might get a PB in terms of your position, as it is not too busy, so maybe you might be able to get near the front. Now, before we get into the course, if you're still wondering what is a parkrun, a parkrun is essentially a 5k run which is ran by a group of volunteers who time the event and marshal the event, and then once you finish you get an official time and position. So let's take a look at a summary of the course. So there it is, Pontypool, running down a straight to begin with. You're going to do a quick lap around the balls area, and then there is the Hospital Hill, which is quite steep. You're then going to come back down, go around the rugby / football pitch, and then you do that for a second time before continuing straight on and hitting the finish line. So that's going to have an elevation gain of approximately 79 metres and a max elevation of 137 metres. And now it's time to take a look at the course in a bit more detail then. So you're going to start off here on the flat tarmac path. Make your way west towards the football pitch. You're going to pass that football pitch, head off to the left hand side around a field. You're then going to make a right turn, head your way up around the balls area, turn right again, and this is a slight downhill. And once you get back to whereabouts you started and turn left, you're actually going to go left again, and now this is Hospital Hill. So very steep and long hill as you go up, and it's going to continue as you go around this corner for a little bit longer, and then you're going to start heading your way downhill again. So this is starting to go downhill. You do a slight U-turn over here on the other side, then you're going to head your way down. This is a bit steeper, this downhill, towards the football and rugby ground. You're going to turn right. Now this is a small, very steep hill, and then once you get up to there, it is all flat around the football / rugby pitch. It's sort of like a circuit, almost 400 metres, I'm probably going to guess at. Then you're going to turn right as you get towards the end, drop back down onto the flat path and head back towards where you started. You're going to do that a second time, so you're going to come all the way back round around the balls field, back up Hospital Hill, all the way across, back down the steep hill, turning right, doing that 400 metres again, but instead of turning right here, you're going to continue on forward to the finish line. And so it sounds quite confusing, but on the day the marshals are great at pointing out the directions. So that is an overview of the course. Now let's take a look at some incredible records which have been set by past participants. So you have the fastest male, which is Christopher Carpani, joined with John Like, both getting a time of 15 minutes and 48 seconds, which is incredible. I don't think I've ever actually seen that before either, where there's 2 people which hold the record. And then we've got the fastest female, which is Emma Wookie, with a time of 17:36. Again, really impressive time. The average number of runners being around 106. and an average time of 29 minutes and 9 seconds. So that is some stats set by some other incredible people, and now let's take a look at my GoPro stats so far. So we have done a total of 39 park runs so far on 24 different locations, with this being number 25. Our best finish position was at Zaloni Jar in 4th, and our fastest times ranged from Summerdale Pavilion to 5 Arches, so starting off my fastest time being 22:32, and my slowest time on the leaderboard right now is 23:25, and that is the one to beat if I want to get Pontypool onto this leaderboard. And now, what we've all been waiting for, let's get into the run. So as you can see, really sparse at the front, lots of space to start at the front as well, and no one actually wanted to go straight to the front and be the one leading the pack, so everyone sort of stood back a little bit, even though they were saying, oh, everyone can move forwards. No one wanted to be that person there at the front. But horrible day as well, really wet and rainy, so you may see a few droplets as well dropping on the GoPro that we're about to get going. The run director is just talking with the timekeepers now just to make sure they are ready. And now we're moving in 3, 2, 1. We are off, and let's get going. Let's hope that we can get a decent time on this. Under 25 minutes is what we're aiming for. You can see the puddles there along the right hand side and down the centre, but all tarmac paths like this for the whole duration of the run. So road shoes definitely okay to wear. Let's see how quickly we can do this one. So we're a minute in, and we're currently situated in about 5th position. You can see the elevation there at that bottom right as well. It isn't really changing too much, fluctuating between 118 and 122 meters. So it's pretty flat, this section, and we're heading towards where the football and rugby pitches, which you'll see on the right hand side in a second, and on the left just there is the active lifestyle. Is it active lifestyle centre? So that's just there on that left hand side. That on the right hand side where you can see the barrier is when you come back, so you've got to keep to the left hand side for the whole time. And now we are heading towards the far field and towards the Bulls area. So we've been hit by that raindrop, but it's all good. We're going to head off to this left-hand side. Currently in 4th position, that's 1st and 2nd. So this is actually the first time ever which I've managed to keep up with the people at the front. But as you'll see later on, I made a rookie error and went off a little bit too quickly. I don't think Hospital Hill was as well. I think Hospital Hill was harder than I thought it was going to be. In a few minutes, we'll start dropping positions as we realise that we started off just that little bit too quickly. So we're just reaching the far end of that course, and we are turning right. So be careful here because the path does thin out a little bit, so you can only get about 2 people alongside each other, and so make sure you're not going to trip each other up as you go around that corner. Watch out for the benches as well, but it's all still on hard standing. Obviously you can go on the grass on the right, but it's definitely not recommended. But we're doing quite well at the moment. We're currently 0.8 kilometers in at a time of 3:30, so it's a quick start. As you can see, the weather isn't great and the rain is falling onto the GoPro. I'll give it a wipe in just a second. And now this is gradual incline here before we turn right where the Bulls area is, and we head now our way towards Hospital Hill. So we are back at that position where we turned left just a second ago, and this time we are turning off to Hospital Hill. So there you go, you can see it is a gradual but fairly steep incline as well, so it's quite a difficult one to push your way up, and this is where I realised I started off just that little bit too quickly. Some lovely blossom trees were out as well, as you can see there on that left and right hand side. But we're doing quite well, 5 minutes and 18 seconds. We've just hit the hill. If you do want any other information on all the gradients and things like that, you can go check out my Strava, which I've left a link in the description below, so you can go and check that out. And if you're enjoying this video as well and you find it useful, hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see a new park run, or I sometimes go return to other park runs as well, where we can have park run content every Friday. So hit that subscribe button if you want to see some more. We're just going around that U-turn sort of bend up at the top of Hospital Hill. It's still a very gradual incline, and then it will level out in just a second, and the rest of it from there is downhill, apart from a very small incline which you have to do around the rugby pitch. But it's all on hard standing, as you can see. Still, weather is definitely not picking up. Grey clouds up in the air too, and on the right hand side in a minute we'll drop back down the hill towards the rugby pitch. And now we are heading towards the downhill. You can see first and second position there have started to pull away from us. We're going to come around this U-turn now, and it is all downhill to the bottom. We'll give the screen a quick wipe so that you can see what's going on again. Do make sure to be careful with public walking around, as well as these paths are quite narrow. It doesn't really get congested though, as you spread out quite quickly from the very start. But we're doing quite well at the moment. There are also two people running in poo costumes, which you may see at some point. I'm not too sure actually if we ever crossed anyone in one, but they were raising money for bowel cancer. So do make sure, if you do have any money, to donate in the description below. We went and got some cakes and things like that on the day as well from their stall, so I'll definitely be showing you those at the end. And here we go. This bit is a very short and steep hill up to the rugby section. So here we go, pushing up just behind third position there, but almost up to it, and there we are. So now it's a flat all around the rugby and football pitch. You'll see on the right hand side in just a minute the people up at the top section that have just finished the hospital hill, but we're now making our way around. It's probably about like a 400-meter track, to be honest, around the edge of the pitch, and then we are heading into our second lap after that. And there we go. So that is the lap of the track around the football/rugby pitch. We are now heading back down. Be careful of this section here. You don't want to slip into the gate and injure yourself, but we are back to this tarmac path where we started. In front of us is that active lifestyle centre. Active living centre, that's what it's called, remember now. And the rugby you can stand, you can see there on the left hand side, and we're heading back to where we started. So this is all flat from here. It says that we're about halfway, but the GPS, when I had to look at it after, it's very jagged, as if I was doing side steps the whole way there. So that's why it is saying that we're halfway there, and we've not actually hit that halfway point yet. So there you can see on that right hand side, first and second position have just gone past us. We're now heading up towards that U-turn to make our way into lap 2. Give the lens a quick clean. There's the volunteer there. Thank you very much. And that is one lap complete. So now we are moving into lap 2. We just got to do that whole lap again, and hopefully we can get a time which is under 25 minutes, because it looks like it's going to be a pretty close one. So we're doing quite well at the moment. Do make sure to keep an eye out for the runners on your right hand side. You don't want to be colliding with the people who are on their first lap still. So we're now heading our way back towards that bulls area. We're starting to flag a little bit now, because I was looking at my pace for the first 2 kilometres, and that was about 4:25, 4:21. And then my third, 4th kilometres were a lot slower at 4:39 to the 4:50s. So this definitely is one where you want to start off and not too quickly, and because Hospital Hill is harder than you think, in my opinion. But we're heading back towards this very gradual decline now, towards the very far western end of the run, before going back round the bulls and towards Hospital Hill again. There we go. So we have done most of the downhill. Now we're heading our way back up. We're going to turn right here and head our way back towards Hospital Hill. So doing quite well at the moment. Just gone over 17 minutes, 3.8 kilometers in. Doesn't look like we're going to get a PB in today's run though, but I didn't expect us to, as it is a fairly hilly run in my opinion. But we're heading now downhill just for a little bit more before hitting the Hospital Hill. Right, here we go, Hospital Hill attempt number 2. As you can see, we're slowly dropping behind the people in front of us. We're still going at 13 to 12 kilometers per hour, so we're doing pretty well for my sort of standards, but it's going to go up the elevation from about 120 meters which we're at to about 135, maybe 140. So we're pushing our way up. You can see the elevation is slowly starting to increase. We won't be surprised if you see our pace start to decrease. But on a really nice day, this area would be lovely, running through to like a blossom alleyway almost from both that right and left hand side. So it's quite a nice looking run, to be honest. And there we go, we've hit the top of Hospital Hill. It looks like it actually went all the way up to 144 metres in the end, so it's quite a big elevation increase there. And we're at the 4.4 kilometre mark, but I think this one actually gets to about 5.4, so we've got about a kilometre left to run. They actually had posts on both on the sides for each kilometre as well, telling you once you hit 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. But do make sure that when you're on your first lap, you don't think you've done 3 kilometres after about 20 metres just because you didn't see the 3 kilometre sign. You do have to do another lap, so make sure to be careful with that. We're going to give it a quick wipe again. As you can see, the weather's awful, but on that right hand side you can see there's the rugby and football pitch that we are going to be running around in just a moment. There we go, we get overtaken by another person. So you can see I didn't pace this one very well, so just as a warning, don't go off too quickly at the start. Once you do that Hospital Hill, then you can sort of judge your pace after that. But I'm a bit disappointed with the way I paced this one, so I'm hopefully going to return on a hopefully nicer day as well and try and beat this time at some point like we did with Pontypool Hill. And there we go, so we're back down the other side. Give it a quick wipe before we head towards the super steep small hill in a second, and it's going to be the final push. The legs will be burning after just this bit here. You can see everyone slowing down as they hit this hill. You ready? Here we go. Yeah, dropping down to 9. Gone all the way back up to 12 there. I've managed to do quite well actually going up that hill, but we're now going to do a lap around the football/rugby pitch, and then it's a sprint finish to the end. Here we go. Come on. So definitely not going to beat our time there of 23:25 and get on the leaderboard, because it's going to take us longer than a minute to get around this 400 metres for sure. Pontypool Rugby actually did have a famous fact where they had 3 of the best front rows that had ever played in rugby. I think it was Charlie Faulkner, Bobby Windsor and Graham Price. They were all known to be very, very good front rows at this rugby pitch and for Wales as well. But here we go. It's going to be the final sprint finish now. We're on 23:52. It looks like we're going to beat 25 minutes, which I'm pretty happy with, as that one did have quite a lot of up and down. There we go. Pointed into the direction. There's the stands on the right hand side. The crowd are going wild. Only joking, but here we go. What should we get? We're going to get a time of 24:08 and a position there of 8th place. So we've done pretty well. There's the sign there as well. You can have a photo outside of that at the end. I need to get this GoPro off me as soon as possible. Honestly, it makes it harder, the GoPro, by about 30 seconds to a minute usually. But we've managed to get a good time and position. And now let's have a look at the summary. That is Pontypool Parkrun complete, ticking off the P on that alphabetic challenge. That is the second P that we've done now, as we have done Pontypool Hill and Pontypool. So that is a good start. And also for those people with the 5K app, that is also one of the full Ponty 4 that you have to do. So there's basically 4 park runs that start off with Ponty, and you have to do all 4 of them to complete a challenge as well, called the Full Ponty. And as usual, a huge thank you to all of the volunteers as well. They're all really nice and friendly on the day. They were great cheering you on and pointing us in the right direction as well. So thank you to all of you. I think the rain did take away the aesthetic side of the park run. It did seem like a really nice one. It had beautiful blossom trees as you made your way up Hospital Hill, and then the rest of it is just the normal grassy area sort of park. But the hill was quite challenging as well, so if you like a challenging park run that's got a bit of hill training in it, that was quite a good one for that as well. And also coming 8th, that is one of our best positions as well. I think it might be our second best position, to be honest. It's 4th, and then we've come 8th a few times now. So but you can't quite break that 8th barrier. For some reason I've had 3 or 4 park runs now where I finished 8th and I've not finished like 7th, 6th or 9th, 10th. So really frustrating for the position bingo. So with all that taken into account, it is definitely not one for the PB. It's too hilly for that one. So we'll go through the pinch points now as to why it is not. So the first pinch point is that it is hilly. So we've got that Hospital Hill section, which is really hard, and then also that really quick hill up to the rugby pitch. So 2 hills there, which are quite difficult, and then it's sort of more of an undulating rest of the course. And then also the second pinch point is that it is fairly windy and bendy. So you've got a few U-turns that you have to do, especially the one after you've completed lap 1, you have to do a U-turn, back, turn around, and that slows you down as well. There's a few other tight bends and corners, and with the weather being a bit wet as well, we have to be careful because it might be slippy. So that definitely slows you down, taking a few seconds off your time too. And as I mentioned, as we were running, there were people running for bowel cancer, so they were dressed up as poos, so it was pretty funny to see them running around in those. And then after, we were able to go and purchase some cakes off of the charity as well. So we got some Welsh cakes, mini eggs, and some banana and white chocolate bread as well, which was all very, very tasty. I was really happy with those. And as usual, at the end of every parkrun video, we go through a few tips and tricks on how to get there for some people that haven't yet been. And so we'll start off with getting there by public transport. So if you want to get there by train, the station you want to get off at is called Pontypool and New Inn, and then it's about a 25-minute walk or a 4-minute drive to the start line. And then if you want to get there by bus, there is a really close bus stop which is 4 minutes away, and that is called Brosnan Street Bus Stop. So you literally stop there, walk over a little bridge, and then you make your way to Pontypool Park. And then if those two aren't an option and you want to drive, there are 2 big car parks as well where you can stay for free. So there's this one here, and then there's this one here as well, which is literally right next to where you start and by Pontypool Park. So you can't really go wrong in terms of directions from there. And then if you're one of those which loves a post-park run coffee after the run, you can go to the Active Living Centre, which we've been going on about for pretty much the whole of this. Obviously, when we went, they were fundraising for bowel cancer, so we were able to go and grab a few cakes off of there and leave a little donation. And now we are moving back to my post-park run stats, where not too much has changed, as we have now done 40 park runs, so that increases by 1, and the number of locations is now 25. So like I said, a quarter of the way to that Cal Club achievement on the 5k running app. Then we've got our best position staying as 4th, so not too far off that best finish position. And unfortunately, we were just under a minute behind the 5 Arches time, so Pontypool won't be making it onto the leaderboard this week. So that is it for Pontypool Park Run, and if you do have any other tips and tricks, do make sure to let me know down in that comment section below, and I'll try and pin them up to the top. And also, if you want to go and check out another one of my videos, last week we went up to Pontypool Hill to try and beat our time of 24:08, so we tried to get under 24 minutes. You can see how I did there. Or you can go and check out my worldwide park run playlist with all of my park runs from Norway, Finland, Ireland, Belfast. So you've got loads of different places where I have visited in my parkrun tourism. You can check those out there. Hope you all enjoyed, and don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and next week we are heading off to the Severn Bridge Parkrun to try and hopefully get on the leaderboard with that one, as it's meant to be a quick one. So I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.